I'm Congressman Brian Mast, and I represent the 18th Congressional District of Florida, and I'm proud to be a part of this special Republican address. This week marks the 20th anniversary of September 11th, and for the past 20 years, we've seen thousands of soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines make sacrifice after sacrifice in order to keep evil out of our communities, to prevent war from being fought on our streets or in our shopping centers or in our schools. I'm proud to have served with many of those men and women in Afghanistan. And as a bomb technician serving with the 28th Ordnance Company alongside the 75th Ranger Regiment, I saw firsthand their commitment to our country and our flag and their brothers and sisters in arms. To this day, they are an inspiration to me and to all Americans. That is my message to the veterans of the War on Terror. Even as we see the heartbreaking scenes caused by President Biden's catastrophic withdrawal, I know that this war was lost because of Pennsylvania Avenue. It was not lost because of you. I know that it's frustrating, it's gut-wrenching, and devastating to watch this chaos unfold, especially as we recognize the 20th anniversary of September 11th. But no matter what, you served bravely. You served with honor, you served with compassion, and you served those who stood shoulder to shoulder with you. When the explosion that took both of my legs went off, my brothers ran across a minefield in order to save my life. Those ties that bind us can never be severed, and they will always be worth it. So today, we remember all those who left us on September 11th, and all those who stepped up to serve and made tremendous sacrifices in the decades that followed. And most importantly, on behalf of a grateful nation, we say thank you to every one of you.
I'm Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis from New York City, and I'm honored to be delivering the Republican address on the 20th anniversary of September 11, 2001. It's a day that brings sadness to all of us. Nearly 3,000 Americans perished on that day, and thousands of selfless first responders have succumbed to 9/11-related diseases since. Over the years, it has been heartbreaking to attend the memorials of first responders and hear their stories from loved ones. But out of darkness came unity. After the attacks, we saw patriotism, messages of love, and boundless appreciation for our heroes. Caring organizations were born, some right here in my district, including the Carl Beeney Fund, which supports schools and hospitals, and the Stephen Siller Foundation, which supports the widows and children of our fallen heroes. Both are named after firefighters who laid down their lives that day to save others. Sadly, unlike the days and months following 9/11, today we are facing an incredibly divisive time for our nation. Afghanistan is once again under control of the Taliban, with American military equipment parading under their flag. The withdrawal has become so tragic, it has resulted in the death of 13 courageous service members, and both American citizens and Afghan partners are left behind enemy lines. It's a kick in the gut reminder to every American that freedom is not free, and we all have a responsibility to preserve it. Americans deserve answers, and House Republicans are committed to getting them. On this anniversary of the worst terrorist attack in our nation's history, we must be vigilant to keep Americans safe. Reducing counterterrorism, broad, open borders here at home, and the defunding of police has made us vulnerable. House Republicans pledge to not allow the words "never forget" to simply become just another slogan. That is why we support a strong foreign policy and military that are essential to preserving peace and freedom. That is why we want our borders to be secure, to know exactly who is crossing them. That is why we wholeheartedly support our law enforcement and want them to have the tools that they need. We have not forgotten and never will. God bless America and our first responders who serve.
I'm U.S. Congressman John Katko. I proudly represent New York's 24th District in the House of Representatives and serve as a top Republican on the House Committee on Homeland Security. I'm so honored and humbled to deliver this week's Republican address from right here at Ground Zero in New York City, as we reflect on the 20th anniversary of the September 11th attacks on our nation. The words "never forget" continue to ring out as a somber reminder of the fragility of our national security and a commitment to always honor those lives lost. We remember the first responders who ran toward danger without hesitation instead of running from it. We remember the heroes who sacrificed their lives to save others including the brave passengers and crew of Flight 93. The attacks on 9/11 fundamentally altered the security posture of the United States and the way we engage in the world and live our lives. Following one of the darkest days in our history, and united by our grief, we resolved to find those responsible and bring them to justice. And we pledge to never again allow a failure of intelligence to compromise our homeland security. The Department of Homeland Security was founded shortly after 9/11, charged with unifying government efforts to prevent future information and intelligence sharing failures. The Department of Homeland Security mission is more vital now than ever before. 20 years later, while the threat landscape has changed dramatically, we find ourselves in an eerily similar terrorist threat environment to pre-9/11. The potential for violent attacks on the homeland emanating from the very place where we spent 2 decades working to stamp them out is both maddening, frustrating, and sobering. History reminds us that our homeland is less secure when the United States allows for the creation of terrorist safe havens abroad. The catastrophic mishandling of our withdrawal from Afghanistan has served as a devastating reminder of the very real consequences our nation faces when terrorism is allowed to gain a foothold abroad. I join all Americans in praying for the families of the 13 American heroes that sacrificed their lives in Afghanistan during evacuation efforts, while also demanding accountability for the foreign policy and national security decisions that led to this avoidable tragedy. While 9/11 is a somber reminder of the fragility of our security, it must also serve as a reminder that an inability to connect the dots to effectively secure our nation against the threats of tomorrow is simply unacceptable. Republicans, specifically those on the Homeland Security Committee, are steadfastly committed to ensuring we never forget the lessons we learned from September 11th. Our nation is a beacon of freedom around the world, and it's up to us to keep it that way. We must remain vigilant about the threats facing our country at home and abroad, and endeavor to ensure that America will always be the land of the free and the home of the brave. May God bless you and your families, and may God bless the entire United States of America.